Hey friends! My name is Katie and I am the owner of a little online yarn store called the Knit Nook. So we specialize in hand-dyed yarns, lots of New Zealand, wool, merino, needles and notions, all things for knitting and crochet. And I've just come back from a fiber festival in Hamilton this past weekend called Fibretron. And I wanted to show you some of the special things that I was able to get while I was there. So first up is this fantastic Doctor Who project bag. This is made by In Stitches, and I will tag them down the bottom. But I just love, you get a real kind of sense of lots of different parts of the show from the bag, and I love a bit of Doctor Who merch. I just can't help myself. But yeah, so that was kind of the one big thing on my list. Having a yarn store, yarn is easier for me to get, obviously, but getting like special project bags is always a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to using this. So inside of this is what I bought at the Fiber Festival. So that's my bag. That was my super happy purchase. And then, actually, I did get a tiny little, see if I can dig my hand in. I also got a little Doctor Who enamel pin from the same people. I just like nerdy bits that I can put on my knitting bags and things. So anyways, love Doctor Who. The next thing that I got was this hemp wool. So this is a 65% wool, 35% hemp blend made in Italy. I can't remember the name of the table that I got it from. I'll have to see if I can have a look online and see if I remember. But anyway, I've never knit with hemp before, and I thought it would be really interesting to try. Both, you know, texturally, it feels different than a lot of wools that I've worked with, but also I wanted to see if it would be good for socks. So if you've knit with this before, you can tell me in the comments if it's good for sock knitting. But I did have a conversation with the man at the table who told me that hemp makes for very tough wearing, like hard wearing socks. So I thought that was really interesting. This is a worsted weight wool. So there's only 230 meters for this 100 gram ball. So I'm gonna do a pair of shorties, and I should have plenty shorty socks. It's mostly for the heels and toes that I want to see kind of how tough it is. But anyways, so that's the label. I don't know if you can see the like flecky bits from the hemp. Yeah, it is really interesting. So I will let you know how that goes maybe in another video, but that's intended for a pair of socks. Oh, now I've gone blurry. The next thing that I picked up was some purple sprouting. So this is from a dyer in New Zealand called Paula, and she makes really beautiful hand-dyed yarns. I got two. So the first one I picked up was called Secret Library, and this is a 85% superwash extra fine merino, 15% nylon, and that's intended for a pair of socks for my husband. And that's her Delta base, but I just love her colors. She's so good at what she does. Also, she's a really, really lovely, sweet lady. And I like to buy yarn from people that I like, you know, people that you want to do business with. So anyways, beautiful, beautiful yarn. I'm not sure on a pattern yet. I was thinking because there's so much of the same kind of color family, you'll be able to see like a textured pattern. So probably a textured pattern of some kind, maybe some like cable socks. I'll have to have a think about that. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm sure Ben's gonna love it. And then the second one that I got is the same base, the Delta base, 8515, in fingering weight yarn. And this was her theme yarn for the weekend. So this is called Fibretron 2025. She did the same thing last year, but I didn't grab one in time last year. But I just love it. Nice berry colors, lots of pinky purples, just right up my alley. So I'm looking forward to knitting that. I'm not sure, again, what pattern I will use for that, but it's so lovely and squishy. Yeah, I'll have to think about what pattern to use, but I do really love, she's got some speckles in there. Yeah, that's probably my favorite base of hers. It makes for such squishy, soft socks, and anytime I knit with that base for others, people just like rave about it. They love it. So, and then something maybe a little on the extra special side that I picked up, well, it's definitely extra special, is this kit from Little Acorn. This is 3 100-gram skeins at 400 meters per skein, and this base is called Are You Kidding Me? And it is a 4-ply, I think it's 50-50 merino and mohair. So you see that little halo? It's probably coming through on the top there. Yeah, you can see it. It's kind of this beautiful like mustardy colors called newt. So I've got 1,200 meters, and she had these sitting in a basket with a whole bunch of other kits of different colors, beautiful colors that she had done. And with it was a sample she had done for the Cottage cardigan by, is it Jackie Cieslak? I'll put it in the thing down below. Yeah, so 4-ply though. I think the pattern is done on a 3.5 millimeter needle. So I'm going to have a look at that. I did quickly go online and check my size, and I should have enough because it's sort of like a cropped cardigan. And it's so nice and light. And I thought that's perfect to wear. You kind of in that like shore seasons, not shore seasons. What am I talking about? Shoulder seasons. Yes, shoulder seasons, like spring and fall kind of thing, where you just want a little something to put over your shoulders, but it doesn't need to be super heavy. So I'm really excited to cast this on. It's probably going to take me a while, but I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. But I think it will be such a pleasure to knit with. So Ginny is also really lovely, the person who dyed this. So yeah, I'll tag her down on the bottom, but that's her little logo. And that's the back. Is that not focusing? Come on. It's trying to compete with my face. Anyway, I just love the texture of this yarn and the shine and the halo. I think it's going to be so, so lovely to wear. So, what else did I get? I did get a mug, but that's not yarn related. I was with 2 friends from our knitting group, and we were just walking through the town that we were staying in, and we found this really lovely little kitchen shop, and it had all kinds of different, cutlery and pottery and all sorts. And I found Emma Bridgewater mugs, which I've always wanted an Emma Bridgewater mug. Never seen one in person in real life. I've only ever seen them online. But kind of always wanted one. So I was not leaving without. So I chose one with irises on it. It's really beautiful. So I've been enjoying my cups of tea and that since I've been home. But I think that's kind of it as far as like special things that I picked up while I was away. I'm probably the happiest about my Doctor Who bag. Like that's a real win for me. Nice zip. Blue interior, no pockets or anything, but honestly, I don't really need that. And my little notions pouch, which I've just had for years now. I picked this up from Sew Sandy Sew in Canada, and it just keeps all my bits inside. I love, she's even got her little tag in there. But anyway, So usually I'll have like all my bits and pieces in this, and then I'll just throw that into whatever project I'm working on. So yeah, so that's what I picked up over the weekend. I had such a fun time. There's always so many dyers, so many vendors. I was a vendor last year, but decided this year to take a little break. So I just went with a couple of friends and we had some fun. And yeah, as far as what I'm working on, it's a wee bit of secret, but not entirely. So, those of you who've been following me online for a little while will know that I had a retail shop for the last 3 years, and we've just transitioned. So we're moving to being just online now, an online space, which is giving us some really needed balance in our household. And I'm really happy about that. But it's given me a chance to have a look at the yarns that we stock and maybe having a think about carrying some different things or new things. So one of the things that I'm really, really looking forward to sharing with you is that we are going to be stocking NORO. This is something I've wanted to do basically from day one of our shop, but never really got around to, because I was always trying to look for some more practical things that people were asking for the day-to-day, in-person shopping. So it didn't really happen, but here we are. It's never too late. So we are going to be stocking a variety of different NORO yarns, 3 of which will sort of be our all the time ones. And then we'll have some different ones that will rotate through the seasons. But one of the first ones that we're going to have is called Haunui Silk. So this is one of the colorways that I'm knitting with right now. This is a really beautiful blend of Haunui wool, which is exclusive to New Zealand, and it is spun with a strand of silk, of undyed silk. So we will have, I think there's 7 colorways of this particular yarn base. It is a 65% wool, 35% silk. Recommended needle size of 4.5 to 5 millimeter, 16 to 18 stitches per 10 centimeters. Yeah, it is very special yarn. This particular wool comes from a farm in the South Island of New Zealand. It is only available, the sheep that they create this wool from are only in New Zealand. There we go, I'm going in and out of focus. But anyways, I will share a lot more about that when we're ready to launch it. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you a little peek what I've been working on as a sample. So this is called the Comfort Zone, or Comfort Zone by Espace Tricot. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm not quite finished. I'm at the hem. So the idea of this is that it is a poncho. It's like a turtleneck poncho that hits you about waist height. It's not a cropped, but it's not like a super long poncho style. Let's see if we can show you how the colors change. It's got, classically NORO thick and thin parts in the yarn. It's a more naturally spun style. It kind of has a bit of a bit more of a hand spun look about it. So I've just split for the front and the back hem. And the back will be a little bit longer than the front. So I think I've got 5 inches on the front hem to do, 6.5 on the back, and then I'll be able to cast off. So yeah, getting there. I'm loving this project. It was so simple. Start at the top down, and then you have this twisted rib that goes all the way down the shoulder and then down the arm, which makes for a nice simple detail. But it is so soft. It is so soft and warm. I tried it on while we were in Fibretron, for the weekend, and just to see like if the length was good, and I'm really, really happy with it. So that's what I've been working on. Trying to exclusively work on this right now just because I want to have a sample of each of the new yarns that we're bringing in. So I'm kind of squirreling away at that at the minute. I've got a few socks on my needles, which are not within reach right now. I had cast on a pair for Christmas in July and did not finish. So I'm on the second sock at the heel, which is great. So not too far to go. I might be able to crank them out for the next couple of days. But yeah, another project I recently finished was this huge blanket behind me. With getting ready to close our retail space, there was a lot going on. It's a bit stressful trying to juggle all of those little details that needed taken care of. So I thought I'm just going to cast on something that is simple, you know, a little mindless, lots of scraps that I can use up, and I can feel good about that before I, you know, start anything else new with new yarns. So I'll just grab it. This is the weight is probably a chunky weight. So I held some yarns double, some yarns triple, just lots of scraps that I had in my stash, lots of different colors, lots of different dyers. Some of this is commercially dyed yarn, some of it is hand dyed yarn. It's just a huge collection of scraps. And it's pretty heavy, this blanket. It's so squishy, all in garter stitch. So I think I cast on 180 stitches. Yeah, I think it was 180 stitches on a 6mm needle. And I just kept going and going. And whenever I needed new colors, I would just pick something up and start throwing it in and try to match a few things that were similar in color. Like sometimes I'll have like a dark blue and a lighter blue, or I'll have something held with a white if I don't have a, you know, a similar color. So here, like I threw in some gray that I had was like a sock yarn with different colors, which is fine. And yeah, it is a really fantastic blanket. I love this blanket. And then when I was finished, I picked up all the way around and did an I-cord border using Broadway DK merino in some kind of like lime something color. I just love it. But anyways, everybody loves this blanket in our house. It's just so big. It probably covers me and 2 little kids on the couch, or even my husband will grab it and he's like, this is my favorite one, which is really lovely to hear. So that's kind of what I've been working on for the last little while. I'm sure there will be more things that I can share with you as time goes on. Hoping my NORO project will be finished and I can show that to you next time once I have it blocked. So anyway, this is just a first sort of podcast to get us started. Hoping to be around maybe once a month and share with you some of what I've been working on, what I'm getting into the shop, things that I've finished, things that I've acquired, or yarns that I'm testing out. And yeah, I would love if you would join us. If you want to subscribe to our channel, like this video, share it with a yarny friend, and yeah, I will see you another time.